What is going on, pie holders? It is Ahmed, and I am back today with yet another video for you all. And today, guys, we got to give updates on what's coming on Wednesday, March 19th, where the Federal Reserve or the FOMC meeting is going to take place, which could be the pivotal moment to move the crypto markets towards a full-blown bull market. Now, remember, as always, never financial advice, just putting you guys on the plays that I'm in. If you're new around here, smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm to inform and get more people to understand what the Pi community is all about. And also consider subscribing to the channel. Pi coin going back, falling down to its support line. Unfortunately, because of the fact there was this event that was supposed to happen on International Pi Day, which is 3.14 or March 14th, that was the anticipation for a Binance listing. Once that didn't happen, the overall Pi holders that were only buying in for that sole catalyst to see a Binance listing and then hopefully get a new all-time high, thinking that they were going to make some quick gains, ended up actually selling for a loss as people capitulated out. And now we're back to square one, meaning we are back to our support level of $1.30. We could fall down to $1.22, but I'm going to tell you guys in this video why I am not worried, because I look at this from a big picture perspective. I am not looking at Pi coin as an individual single trade for the short term. This to me is something that I want to accumulate over the next few years. But even for those of you that aren't looking to hold for years, you can hold for months, days, and potentially even weeks before you'll start to see double-digit, triple-digit green days. Remember, we've seen what bullish momentum looks like for Pi when we ran up from $1.50 all the way to $3, where we topped off at a new all-time high, have since retraced, and we're building this really strong bull flag. Most of you can probably draw this for those of you that are technical traders, but if you see where we kind of topped off at and where we're going, just based off our current overall consolidation and downward trajectory, again, we could fall technically all the way down where it would actually pretty much line up with March 19th. Again, I'm looking at the 4-hour candles. We could kind of see this bull flag that has kind of formed over the last pretty much since February 25th. Remember, guys, I'm not a technical trader, but all I'm showing you guys right now is if we can break out of this descending wedge where we continue to see a downtrend over the last while, this could be the beginning of something special. Right now, we're trading below the 20-day moving averages, as well as actually now the 10-day moving average. So with that being said, obviously Pi coin is a very new trade. It's a very new token to the market. So with that being said, we are looking at it from very short time frames. There was a lot of IOUs and people that were trading it prior to it being on its main net. But now the story of Pi is currently being built out with this new chart. With Binance hopefully on the way and many more exchanges, I do believe that we're going to see a new all-time high for Pi in the short term. And I'm going to tell you guys what I'm looking at from a macro perspective for the crypto market come this Wednesday. So I need you guys to hopefully watch this video prior to that Wednesday FOMC meeting minutes, as well as the remarks that are going to be made by Jerome Powell. Now, before we dive into today's video, aside from price action, remember Btcc, where you're seeing this chart, Pi USDT pairs available, readily available worldwide, regardless if you're in the United States of America, Canada, Pakistan, India, UK, you can trade on Btcc, the world's oldest and most established cryptocurrency exchange that is actually in a decentralized manner. It's DeFi. It's not a centralized exchange in the sense that you don't have to KYC to create an account. You can on-ramp and off-ramp fiat via other wallets or exchanges, which makes it quite unique. With addition to that, there's a link down in the description for Btcc, where you can potentially be a part of. You have 2 days remaining, 2 days, 17 hours left for the Tesla Cybertruck giveaway and $1 million prize pool. So make sure to get a part of it. Rolex watches are going to be up for grabs with this prize pool. 7-star hotel stays, token 2049 tickets. My favorite, obviously, is the beautiful Cybertruck, because, again, it's one of my dream cars that I hope to have one day in the coming years. So let's go ahead and dive in. First and foremost, this is a parody account. Dr. Nicholas Cockless. And you guys know Dr. Nicholas is one of the founders of Pi, but this is a parody account that's speaking on his behalf, and I think they touch on things really well. Said Binance must take he says, I'm calling on the entire crypto community. Mind you, this has over 321,000 impressions on his post. Binance must make an official announcement regarding the listing of Pi Network, except instead of keeping people in the dark. And CoinMarketCap should treat Pi fairly by placing it in its rightful ranking. Exchanges must stop manipulating the price, and I invite everyone to retweet this post and stand together in unity. Remember, exchanges cannot exist without us. We are the ones keeping them alive, which is true. Exchanges rely on volume and they rely on market participants and market makers. We must not allow them to control and manipulate us. They need to listen to us now. So, a fantastic post by this fandom account, and he says that in the description where he says, "I am a fan of Dr. Nicholas. This is a parody account, not claiming to be the co-founder himself." So I respect that a lot. The other question right now is the market is still under this consolidation phase. Bitcoin holding at 84K, Ethereum over 1900, XRP at 234, Solana hitting $128. We saw Pi unfortunately fall in ranking from Chainlink's 11th place spot, now falling to 12th place, but holding strong above a $9.2 billion valuation. Still one of the top 15 cryptocurrencies in the market, which gives me a lot of hope that as soon as this market turns around and we enter into the bull market, because remember, Pi has not seen an official bull market yet. We've been in an intra-bear market during what we would consider a bull market since Pi's launch. All of February was bearish, all the first half of March was bearish, but now we're hoping for a pivot. And this is what I want to talk about in today's video. What to expect from the March Fed meeting. Remember guys, I'm here to educate each and every one of you, and whether you're in the United States or not, the US's FOMC meeting kind of impacts the global markets because we know that the US exposure to crypto, with the US citizens like myself, we have substantial amount of liquidity that we have entered and put into the markets. So when we're risk on, understand that the markets do full send. When we're risk off, as the United States, we tend to become, again, more bearish. And remember, the US dollar is used as a global trade currency. So the Federal Open Market Committee is scheduled to meet on March 18th and 19th, as stated here, 2025, which is again, Tuesday, tomorrow, through Wednesday. And that's why I'm asking you guys to watch this before Wednesday for its second monetary policy decision of the year. Market consensus strongly suggests that the Federal Reserve will keep the federal funds rate unchanged at the current range of 4.25 to 4.5%. Remember, the federal funds rate is what dictates where we are in terms of our economy from a macro perspective. Usually you have to increase rates when inflation is ramping up. When inflation is coming down, you need to start cutting rates so you don't cause too much deflation, which can also impact the global markets and the global economy as well as currency. The anticipated rate hold would mark the Fed's ongoing cautious approach as it navigates through economic uncertainties. Recent economic indicators have been sending mixed signals, complicating the central bank's decision-making process. And this is where things get interesting. The speculative aspect. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to see rate cuts as a decision, because right now the market is pricing in 0% chance or 1 to 2% chance of a rate cut in March. But all we need to hear is when Jerome Powell goes up on his podium and starts to speak, is that he switches from a very hawkish, we need to continue to keep rates above 4.25 to 4.5% in terms of federal funds rate, and keeping the markets, cooling off the markets continuously, to hopefully switching, which we call quantitative tightening to quantitative easing, where he comes out and says, it's looking like we've approached the numbers that we wanted, which the Federal Reserve wants a 2% inflation. That's what they want to see, 2% inflation on the dollar. Once they see those values hit, then we start to see a pivot. But Jay Powell did mention, which sent the markets in February, that he would be happy to get at least closer to 2% than we're at today. And I think we're somewhere between 2.75 to 3.25, depending on what analyst or analysis you're looking at. The Fed's primary consideration continue to revolve around inflation trends and labor market conditions. And what's interesting right now, guys, is the markets are starting to correct significantly, which is a sign that the Feds maybe did what they needed to do, and now it's time for this pivot. Once the pivot happens, the market flips to risk on. Real estate, people start buying up because now interest rates are lower for them to purchase. People start to put their money into different equities like stocks and crypto, because these are both risk assets. And remember, cryptocurrency is a risk asset, and Pi coin within the crypto community, or excuse me, the crypto market, is also considered a risk asset, even though it's amongst the top 15 or top 20. Federal Chair Jerome Powell recently stated that the U.S. economy continues to be good in place, highlighting the resilience of the labor market despite global economic challenges. The sentiment suggests that the central bank sees no immediate need to adjust rates. So with that being said, they tried to decrease demand across these different markets, real estate, you name it. But the big fact is what the Federal Reserve, since the pandemic, since the COVID-19 pandemic that happened in 2020, literally 5 years ago this week, was they actually brought rates down to zero to stop from a market collapse or market crash. So with that being said, the market started showing bearish sentiment where Bitcoin went from 109 all the way to 77,000, having a 30+% correction. The S&P 500 had a significant correction, and then people aren't really buying houses right now with how high rates are. So my expectation is we start to see the way Jerome speaks on Wednesday is going to show a little bit more of a pivot towards quantitative easing before the month of May of this year, where we then send cryptocurrency and the rest of the global markets towards new all-time highs in June, July, and moving forward. So I just want to share my sentiment with you guys. I do appreciate you all so much for tuning in. The indicators right now that are going to influence this federal decision is, of course, CPI, which came in lower than expectations, which is absolutely amazing. So we should be pretty happy with the way he comes out. But if anything happens that's bearish, I'm going to report on either way. So make sure you guys have that bell notification on. I appreciate your support. And until next time, as always, keep investing. Peace.